So we are now past the Packers bye week. It was not fun sitting there yesterday on the couch on Sunday, not having any Packers game to look forward to. And so I'm happy that we are past that now. And we have about 6 days till the next matchup against the Chicago Bears. But earlier today, I was taking a look at the NFL standings, sort of seeing where everything is situated after week 10. There are 8 games left for the Packers now. And when we look at the NFC North, the Detroit Lions are still in first place. They came back last night, unfortunately, against the Houston Texans. They are now sitting at 8-1, only one loss. They are currently the number 1 seed in the NFC if the playoffs were to happen today. The Vikings are 7-2 behind them. The Packers are 6-3, and the Bears are 4-5. So thank goodness the Bears have gone on a losing streak, and heading into this next game, it's a game the Packers very much need to win. In entering the season, I did think the Packers were going to win the NFC North. I still think they can, but I do think based on the current standings, based on the fact that so far the Lions already beat the Packers, the Lions are 2-0 in the NFC North, the Packers are 0-2 in the NFC North. It will be a little tough for the Packers to win the NFC North unless the Lions don't sort of just fall apart down the stretch, which hopefully that takes place, but based on how they've played, I'm not so sure that is going to happen. So I want to look at a few different scenarios right now. We still do have 8 games left, so a lot can change. Not saying it can't, but I want to look at sort of where the Packers need to finish if they want to still be able to win the NFC North. Currently, based on the NFC seeding, the Packers are the 7th seed at 6-3, Commanders 6th at 7-3, Vikings 5th at 7-2. And so I was doing the math to figure out, okay, how can the Packers win the NFC North just looking at the Lions? And as I already mentioned, there is an issue. The Lions already beat the Packers. The Packers will play the Lions again, so they can tie the matchup to where you go 1-1. That would be the first tiebreaker if they have the same record. Then if that's tied, it then moves on to the best win percentage in the division, which right now the Lions do hold. And so to make it easy, it would just be easier if the Packers can be 1 game ahead of the Lions. And so to do that, over the final 8 games, the Packers need to be +3 over the Lions, meaning winning 3 more games than the Lions. And so if the Packers were to go 8-0 for the rest of the season, and the Lions were to lose 3 games, that would put the Packers at 14-3, and that will put the Lions at 13-4. So if the Lions can go 5-3 over the final 8 games and the Packers go 8-0, the Packers will win the NFC North. But even if the Packers go 7-1 over the final 8 games and the Lions go, I'm trying to find the numbers here. If the Lions go 4-4 over the final 8 games, then the Packers would still be ahead by 1 game. So if the Packers go 7-1, the Lions need to at least go 4-4, if not worse, and win, 2-3 games, hopefully. So the Packers are in a pretty tough spot. Now, I'm not saying they can't win the tiebreaker if they have the same record as the Lions. It's just tough based on the current situation of the Packers being 0-2 in the division and the Lions being 2-0. And so the main thing is, over the final 8 weeks, if the Packers want to win this outright, they need to win 3 more games than the Lions in the final 8 games, meaning if the Lions go 5-3, the Packers to automatically win the NFC North, not factoring in the Vikings, which would factor in, the Packers would have to go 8-0 if the Lions go 5-3 to win it without having to deal with tiebreakers having the same record. So I do think the Packers are somewhat in a tough spot because of how good the Lions have looked. And even though this is a Packers team that I think has a capacity to win every single game, it's just tough to go 8-0. And so if the Packers go 6-2, the Lions would need to go 3-5 for the Packers to finish 1 game ahead of the Lions. So there's a lot in front of the Packers if they really want to pull off this, winning the NFC North. Not that it's the end of the world if they don't. Clearly, having that home field advantage is very nice, and the Packers last year came in as a 7th seed. It started off well against the Cowboys, then they go to San Francisco. And so it's going to be an interesting watch here the rest of the season. There are still games. A lot can happen. A lot can change. But the Packers need to play some really good football down the stretch if they want to have a chance at winning the NFC North. And when we look at the rest of the NFC, the NFC South and NFC West, the best teams are the Falcons at 6-4 and Cardinals at 6-4. And so that pushes some of these other teams like the Cardinals would be ahead of the Vikings at 6-4. even though the Vikings are 7-2 because they're in the NFC North. So the Packers are in one of the best divisions in football currently, and it's going to be a fun end of the season, final stretch of the season with, basically second half of the season with 8 games remaining. Just wanted to break that down. A lot of different numbers, but now with, getting into the second half of the season, it's going to be something to keep an eye on the rest of the way to sort of see where the Packers will finish off in the playoff seeding. But if you want Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.